What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back for the final preview video that I'm doing for the round because I'm just running out of time. So this will be the final one: Wales versus Australia. We're gonna have a look through the team announcements. See some good picks, some bad picks. It's Wales. It feels like almost everyone at the minute. And then we'll go over thoughts on the teams, the game, what we predict going to be happening. Then finishing, of course, with a score prediction. Already done one of these for the England-South Africa game and the France-New Zealand game. Ireland is kicking off like tonight in like a couple of hours, but unfortunately I'm not going to have time to do a whole video and get that one out before then, but you can go check them out after this one if you haven't already. But if you've been with the channel for a while, you know I enjoy a good rant, and we're going to be talking about Wales today. Get ready for some ranting. So let's start out with the home team that is Wales going into this week. Last week played Fiji, lost to Fiji for the first time ever in the Principality. Didn't even know that was a record they had to lose going into that game. And I've seen a couple of different perspectives on that game. I've seen some people say, Wales suck, they're terrible, fire everybody. Certain people should never play for Wales ever again. It's a travesty. I've seen people on the other side say, it was probably, arguably, the best performance by Wales all year. Not saying that much. Even saw Squid Rugby's video, where he said actually there was big points in that game where he thought Wales were actually working quite well. We've seen Mike Phillips online has called out Gatland on just earning a bunch of money to just sit there and lose games one after another. It's all a lot up in the air over here in Welsh rugby, and I'm landing somewhere in the middle. There were points in that game where I thought actually they've got some good shape. They look like they know what they're doing. Suffered the early injury with Mason Grady going off, who, you know, he's certainly a big guy and certainly a large ball carrier. It was so weird to hear the commentators talk about now that Mason Grady is gone, the unit in the Wales team is gone. And I thought, like, I think Jack Morgan and Dewi Lake are much bigger ball carriers than Mason Grady. And also Mason Grady's the same size as 90% of the Fijian teams. I'm not sure necessarily that was going to, you know, make the world a difference, but that enforcer role felt like it was gone early. Wales couldn't see out that game, just mistakes, just letting them down. And something similar in that game that stuck with me, it reminded me so much of the Wales-Georgia game where Wales lost to Georgia in the Principality. And after that match, I called it disrespect, and I'm almost wondering whether it's, I don't know, an ignorance or maybe still a level of disrespect. But the thought of it comes across where it's like Wales are just going to win. Oh, it's Georgia. Wales are just going to win. Oh, it's Fiji. Wales are just going to win. The point that their mentality shifts in the game. They're not taking 3 points. They're not kicking to post. They're going for the corner. They're going for that driving maul. And any other team in, you know, the top 10 in the world, get a penalty in their half, you're knocking 3 over, and you're keeping that scoreboard ticking, and you're going to win. I think at the end of that game, Gareth Anscombe finished on 2 points. You know, and there was a few penalties that could have been taken in that Fijian half that they chose not to. They kept going for the corner, and Fiji did so well at just disrupting the line out, disrupting the maul, and not really letting Wales get away. They had the one penalty try that was certainly going to go over. But it happened in the Georgia game, and I remember saying, why do they not treat these teams like a real top-tier international team and not take these 3 points, and they just sort of believe they're just going to win. It doesn't matter if we don't go for 3. Oh, we lost that line out. We'll probably get another chance. Treat these teams like they could win, because they will. Georgia beat them. Fiji have beaten them. And I honestly think Fiji were a better team last week. So a bit of a rant. I'll keep ranting about this Wales team. Going into this week then, a couple of changes across the board, a couple of injury, concerns that came in from that game, of course. We've lost Mason Grady out on the wing. Thomas Williams also picked up a shoulder injury. Could be shoulder, could just be ego from getting flattened by Josh Tuisova. I let out an audible roar in my own lounge when that happened. What a hit by Josh Tuisova in that game. So a couple of injury concerns coming in, and a few other talking points to go over some of this team. So in the front row, Gareth Thomas, Dewi Lake, and Archie Griffin once again. I thought Dewi Lake came off a bit early last week. I thought he was actually playing well. The line-out situation, good God, are we going to say this? The line-out situation got better. I actually think the stat I have here is that they got 18 from 18. That was the stat on one of the stats pages. So a perfect record in line-out succession, or at least getting the ball back, that's a positive thing to be able to say. Ryan Elias did come on later on. You know, all right, the throwing maybe was okay. The ball carrying and catching just wasn't. Still is an issue. This is still probably the starting front three for me. Nicky Smith actually came on and didn't make quite the impact I expected last week, so I think I would maybe still be sticking with Gareth Thomas going in for this one. Australia are a huge scrum though, so you know it's going to be a big old test for these boys. Lock department: Will Rowlands and Adam Beard. Will Rowlands, just no energy for the game. I don't know what was going on with him last week. Just catch the ball, stationary, getting clattered, not really charging onto it, getting the ball in your opponent's 5 metre line and just diving at the ground and getting knocked over and, oh, I've been tackled, and just not fighting for the line, no drive, no determination to get. And I was like, this is such an unusual, you know, Will Rowlands is a big guy. I'd be expecting more. Adam Beard, not as disruptive as I was expecting him to be in that line out as well. Australia have got solid locks and got a bit of depth in the lock department as well. That line out this week, I don't think Fiji didn't cause a lot of issues for Wales in the lineup last week. This week, Australia should, and it should just be an aim. It should just be a target. Throw a guy at the front in every lineout, and I think you'll disrupt 40% of the Wales lineouts and cause it huge. Just get a guy in the front. It just doesn't matter. These lads need to be on a different level at the minute. Lock department, I would honestly be looking at putting Schwinzer on just to start, and taking one of these boys off at this point. Back row, Botham, Morgan and Wainwright. Jack Morgan is just, again, the star of this team. I was surprised he was on the bench last week. I know, you know, game time and, you know, getting back into the game. Came onto the game. I think he was one of about 3 people that was making meters after tackles. You know, actually taking the collision and still making meters. I think he was one of about 3 players who did it last week. So glad to see him starting now in the 7 shirt. Aaron Wainwright at 8 was probably another one that, you know, I could say, you know, going to be able to make meters over after the tackle and stuff. But the back row for Wales, especially when they went for that 6-2 last week, just didn't look good for me at all. Halfback partnership, Ellis Bevan going in alongside of Gareth Anscombe. Gareth Anscombe coming off. I'm still not entirely sure why he came off. I thought there must have been an injury. Because after he went off, things got worse, as you would expect. So I have to believe there was some injury that they didn't mention there in the commentators, you know, booth or what have you, or I haven't called online. So, but he's back in this week, so fine. I don't know. I'd have had Anscombe on for the whole game. I'd have just told him to kick at the posts and take some of those 3 points. He's got good range, Gareth Anscombe, and you know, certainly good accuracy. Ellis Bevan coming in that 9. Thomas Williams out with a shoulder injury, fixing it up. New scrum half on, bit of energy. Let's get on the go forwards and try and keep hold of possession. Australia are a team that at the minute that are still enjoying their possession, and we see what they did against England last week with, you know, scoring right at the end. Having possession for them is a really important thing. Jake Gordon's a good box kicker as well. They're up for that kicking battle, but once they have possession, they're comfortable in it. I would cut down on the box kicking, and I would try and get on the front foot by, you know, getting out the ruck quickly. So Ellis Bevan, I think, you know, probably going to be a good choice there. Centre partnership, Ben Thomas and Llewellyn going in once again in this 12-13. First half, I thought this was working really well. I was quite impressed by it. I was talking to a couple of my mates over on Messenger and stuff when we were chatting. A couple of them have not really kept up as much with the Welsh rugby and said, man, this Ben Thomas guy is doing really well. And I was like, you know what, I think he is doing okay. Llewellyn again, first half, I thought he was at least carrying strong. He was making a bit of a nuisance for himself. Second half, it felt like it began to peter out a bit and a few more of those handling errors and things going in. It just wasn't linking up correctly. Second game for them. Hopefully you'll see that partnership build into this one. Back 3, Murray. Actually, a decent game. I was really impressed to be able to say we've got another winger that can actually, you know, get over the whitewash and get over those tries and looked a bit dangerous out there. Competition with him on Rio Dyer. They looked relatively similar, maybe in terms of the way they're going to play on that left wing. So, not sure if it offers enough diversity. It's no good having 6 wingers that all do the same thing. But I thought Murray actually a good start. Tom Rogers going on that right wing, and then Cam Winnett, who is still alive somehow after Semi Randrada just decapitated him. I don't know how he stayed on that field. I don't know how the head injury process works. If that doesn't deserve at least a HIA. Took an absolute shot. Thought he did well. I questioned in the preview video last week, would he be able to deal with the physicality of the Fijian team? And I think did. And I think actually impressed me a lot. Will be kept busy again with Australia. There's some big counter-attacking runners, some big ball carriers. So another one to keep an eye out for this week if we can win it. And then this bench that, oh boy, Elias Smith and Azarati. who I don't think we're necessarily turning the tables in that game in Wales's favour. Trinsler and Tommy Raffel coming on in that second half. Trinsler, like I said, I think would be a guy I'd be looking to start. Tommy Raffel, yeah, second half, I think that'll probably be okay for his breakdown work. And then your replacement backs, Roger Williams is coming in that 21 shirt. Kieran Hardy has been brought into the team now because Thomas Williams going out, but they've maybe too short notice to fit him in. Sam Costello in the 22 shirt, and then James coming on the 23, who's apparently had one cap, and I can't even remember what game that was that he had that one cap. Now Sam Costello last week had his own weird controversy. Mason Grady going off, and Galland claimed that Sam Costello just took his sort of training kit off and just sprinted onto the field and went above everyone else and made his own way on. I don't know if I believe that. I find that astonishing. That someone who knows they're a dedicated fly half would see a winger go off against Fiji and think, this is my time to shine, and just run onto the pitch. Overriding your coaches to be able to do that, not just your head coach, but the guys in charge of who's doing your substitutions. If a conversation already happened between Gatlin with Ellis Bevan getting on for wing cover, why wouldn't he say something? Why wouldn't the other coaches be aware of it? Does Sam Costello get to override that? Maybe if you're Ardy Sarvea, maybe if you're Peter Steph Dutoy, maybe if you're Antoine Dupont, maybe you get to do that. Maybe you get to say, put me in, coach, this is my time. And you go, you know what? It can't hurt because at least it's top quality running onto the pitch. They can probably play multiple positions. Sam Costello was not going to do well on that wing and didn't do well on that wing. I don't know who said that to God. That's why I don't believe he did it. I can't fathom that being allowed. And if he did do that and overrid all the coaches, I cannot imagine that he's back in the team this week. I just can't see that happening. I think that was a Gatlin call. I think he said, put Sam Costello on, and maybe thought they would switch around and mix it up a bit. My thing was I would have put Cam Winnett onto the wing. Gareth Anscombe should have slid back to 15 and Costello gone in at 10, and it still could have worked. And you'd have Gareth Anscombe, who's had experience at 15, still covering that backfield. Cam Winnett easily could play wing and also understands the backfield cover much better. And I think maybe he thought they would work that out and they didn't, and it went wrong. If that is a case where Sam Costello just ran on and just disregarded whatever the coach has said and just made his own call, I can't believe he's still in the team. We've seen teams in international rugby before where if you just disagree with a coach or you cause some issues, stuff, you don't play. Ethan de Groot's currently not playing in the New Zealand team. We've seen Finn Russell not getting picked for Scotland with issues he's had with Gregor Townsend, right? I can't believe Sam Costello made that decision. Let me know in the comment section. I know I'm rambling. There's enough to ramble about in Welsh rugby, right? They're on for losing every game this year. I feel like I get to have a bit of a ramble. He's gone back in. I honestly think they should be looking for a different 10. You know, I know they tried the Owen Lloyd thing, and there could be different options. I would be looking elsewhere for a different 10 at this point and trying something else, or maybe just add in, you know, your dedicated centre and the contemplations that Ben Thomas fills in at 10 once your 10 comes off and you're going to slide him on and put a different centre on. I would be looking at something different. How are Wales going to get on this week? Who knows? Who knows anymore? It's outside my ability to call at this point. Australia then, a bit more positive. Let's talk positively, right? Great comeback to beat England. Another one I just didn't think they would do that. I honestly thought England would take that game. Australia not stopping for the full 80 minutes and beyond. 84 minutes is when Mac Jorgensen went over and got his try, stealing that game from right under England. There's been a lot of press about how poorly England were at the end of that game, but not necessarily enough praise about how well Australia did to actually stay in it and actually go on to take that win. A couple of injury concerns for them as well. You know, Harry Wilson went off was hit with his injury. There's also no Jake Gordon in this week, so they've gone back to Nick White. Rob Valentini's moved into the 8 shirt and will go in as captain, making his 50th cap as well. But to run through the team, Angus Bell, Fessler, and Ala Alatoa. And Ala Alatoa, who's at tight end, who's on here as the captain. I've seen on a different thing from the Wallabies that Rob Valentini's captain. So it might just be that the graphics wrong, or that thing from the Wallabies might be wrong. Not sure who's in the right here. But co-captains, why not? You know, England have 4 of them. Australia can have 2. Why not? But the front row, Taliala Tupou, was not that great last week. After everything I said about trying to keep that front row on as long as possible, Alalato actually came on, actually looked a little bit more steady. Angus Bell still a bit of a monster. I really think this is a team that should be targeted. I mean, they played in the summer in Australia, won both games, right? I think they should be targeting that scrum. I think the scrum and the driving maul is what Wales have to try and offer into this game. I think disrupt that scrum and put that knock of confidence against them, and then go on to disrupt the line out, stop the driving mauls. I really think Australia have got a great opportunity here. The boys attempting to do that. Will Skelton and Nick Frost, two big monsters. Will Skelton's the only issue for me is the discipline. Can give away those penalties, but two big jumpers in that lock department. I think that's a good move. Like I said, the driving maul for Wales is one of their keys. They didn't exploit it well enough against Fiji and didn't adapt to the situation against Fiji. But they were collecting their own balls. They were having the attempt at the driving maul, and that's sometimes where the issue can go in. We saw the penalty try last week. If I'm this Australia team, chuck the front guy up at every line out. Make the Welsh hookers throw long, make you throw over. How tall is Will Skelton? 8'3". Get it over. Try and get it over him. It'll cause all sorts of issues in that Wales line out, and you just take away the maul from Wales, and then they've got to do something else. And I think they showed last week the adapting to the situation might not quite be there. Back row, Uru goes in alongside of Fraser McWright and Rob Valentini going in that 8 shirt, of course, with Harry Wilson out. Making his 50th cap is Rob Valentini, and I prefer him in the 8 shirt. I actually thought he did well at 6 last week, but I'm looking forward to seeing him back at 8. He's such a massive ball carrier from that 8 position, and Australia use him well. He drops into the backfield and nails into the defensive line as well. Really enjoy it. Halfback partnership, Nick White going in alongside Noah Lolosio. I don't think they should have Nick White here. Honestly, I think Nick White is slowly becoming a bit of a detriment to this Australia team. Every game I see him in, it's penalties going against him for screaming at the ref or making, just getting on everyone's nerves as opposed to having a good game out on his own. I'd have given Tate McDermott the shot here if you're not going to play Gordon and let Tate McDermott have a big game. I'm sure he'll make an impact coming on from the bench, the energy and the ability to score a try later on. Maybe they're thinking, play again the full 80 and maybe take the game at the end. I would have let Tate McDermott take this one and maybe Nick White to seal it out with a bit of experience later on, or maybe just look to someone else, to be honest. Centre partnership, Karevi goes back in alongside Len Nikitau. Karevi's taken his 50th cap as well this weekend. Suoli, who, man, did that boy have a good game against England. I'm not going to lie, over here in Wales, I think we're all really happy he's on the bench. Because I think the Wales centre partnership still, is disjointed. They haven't played that experience of games together. I think Suoli would absolutely have a field day with that Wales centre partnership and just getting around them. Maybe they're thinking again, late game, 65 minutes, 70 minutes. Tight scoreboard. Suoli is going to be the sort of guy who'll come on and probably end up winning the game for Australia with how much he can impact the game from that bench. I would have liked to have seen him start, but nice to see Karevi getting his 50th cap and Len Nikitau, always a solid player. And then in that back three, Mac Jorgensen, Kellaway and Tom Wright. Jorgensen going over for the try to win that game last week. It's looking slightly better. Peach has gone out as well. He's gone out with his injury. He's been sent back home now, so we won't be seeing anything from Dylan Peach either. Still no Corey Betty out there. So for me, this is probably the 3 you'd be picking. Although I still feel like Andrew Kellaway's maybe been a bit quiet just this year in general. I don't think we've seen quite as much from Andrew Kellaway as we have previously. And then the replacements then, Pengo Mosa going in alongside of James Slipper and Nongo as the replacement for Rowe, Salakai Lotto and Langy Gleeson going on in that second half as the replacement forwards. Tate McDermott, Glenn Donaldson and Joseph Suoli to go on in that second half. I think there's a dangerous set of backs there. Tate McDermott, we've seen it this year, will come on and make an impact. Suoli is another one I think could look to do it. Going into this game then, what are we expected to see? Honestly, I think Australia should just feel really confident going into this one. It's one of probably their few games over the course of the year. The Rugby Championships is always tough. It was a big game for them going up against England at home last week. I think this is a game they should go into feeling, what, we can absolutely take this. They've got the strength in the scrum, I think, to really disrupt that Wales scrum. The Wales lineup looked much better last week. They were able to get far more possession off of that. Australia begin to disrupt that. I think it's going to cause a lot of issues for Wales. A few chopping and changing for this Australia team in that back line and mixing up a bit. But I honestly think Australia have got the capabilities to deal with that. So in terms of a score prediction, I'm leaning towards the Wallabies for this one. Honestly, I think it might be a bit. I don't know whether I've just given up trying to talk positively about Wales anymore, but yeah, I think by a bit. I think I'm going to say Australia. I think I'll say Australia by 10. I think is going to be my prediction for this one. But of course, guys, let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on the teams that have been announced. Do you think Wales, this could be the one win Wales get this year? Do you think the Wallabies can keep that losing streak going for them? Drop it down in the comment section along with your own score predictions. Like I said, Ireland and Argentina's kicking off in like a few hours now. So make sure you are getting your picks and stuff put in on Superbru. Make sure you head over to the community tab as well on the channel, because I've been really enjoying doing the predictions of who you think is going to win. You can go over there and just do a vote. It's quick, it's easy, it's just free. You can just put a vote, and it's interesting to see how the subscriber base is meeting up on thinking who's going to win each game. But I hope you all enjoy this one today, guys. Let's get ready for another enjoyable weekend of rugby. Oh, man. For everyone else, maybe, but for over in Wales, maybe not. We'll see what happens. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.